Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the very first episode of Careers in Music. I am your host, Cody Messersmith, and this series is going to take us on a journey through different career paths within the music industry. In today's episode, I'm going to have the chance to talk with Sam Bolinger. Sam is a certified instrument repair technician at Menchey Music Services in Hanover, Pennsylvania. I had the pleasure of talking with Sam a little bit about what goes into being an instrument repair technician, what a typical day looks like in the life of an instrument repair technician, as well as what type of preparation goes into starting this type of career. If you like this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this video. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave those down below, as well as in the comment section. Also, feel free to share what type of careers within the music industry you would like to see me follow within the next couple of months. Within the next couple of months, actually, I'm going to be shadowing different professionals within the music industry. This can be from really any walk of the music industry, whether it be performance education, music therapy, music business, really any of those. So feel free to share down below what type of episodes you would like to see in the near future, and I will try to set up those appointments as soon as possible. So as I said, without further ado, we are going to talk to Sam Bolinger about his career as an instrument repair technician. Hope you enjoy it. So, Sam, tell me a little bit about yourself. You're an instrument repair technician, right?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you work? What do you do? Just a little bit of your daily activities.
I am a certified brass technician. I'm a certified technician in general, but I mainly do brass work only for Menchey's Music in Hanover, PA.
Okay.
A little bit day to day is just, it's mainly cleanings is what most brass instruments come in for. But yeah, just work on brass all day long.
Okay, great. So as far as your background in brass instruments, well, you were primarily like a tuba and bass trombone player, right?
Yep.
So what type of preparation went into your training to become like a certified brass instrument repair technician?
Well, all through high school, I had my mindset that I was going to go to school for music education. And I started taking music education courses, and I had to be honest with myself, and I knew that I wasn't going to be a good teacher. So I had to start thinking of other things to do, and I always liked taking things apart, figuring out how they worked and putting them back together, and I also always liked using machinery and all kinds of that stuff. So I went to my high school band teacher and asked him, what kind of field is out there for something in that sort, and he said about going to repair school. So I started looking online, and I chose the school I wanted to go to, which ended up being Minnesota State College Southeast Technical in Red Wing. And they are one of 3 schools in the USA for band instrument repair.
Okay, cool. Now, exactly what type of training went into the program in Red Wing, Minnesota? Like, about like how long was the program, and maybe like how was the year and like semesters broken up?
Okay, it was a year-long or 9-month program, however you want to look at it. We had a winter break and stuff, but basically you came in. It was split up into essentially 4 semesters. And when I started out in what they call Brass 1, which is where you learn all the basics. You go through different types of brass, different methods of things, and then you mainly work on trumpets and start a little bit of like French horns and stuff, but it's all mainly trumpets and really learning how brass works and all your dent work and buffing and, machining parts and stuff. And then for the second semester, we switched over to Woodwind 1, which is where you mainly focus on clarinet and a little bit of flute. But it's mainly just, learning how to do regulations and how to replace pads and, work with a torch and stuff like that. And basically at the end of each semester, you were given... So at like the end of Brass 1, we were given a trumpet that was a project trumpet, and you had to get all the dents out, buff it. They had us put a new lead pipe on the trumpet and re-lacquer it and everything, and then we got graded that way. And then at the end of Woodwind 1, you were given a clarinet to completely repad and basically do a complete overhaul of the instrument. Then after we had our winter break, we came back, and I started in Brass 2. Also during these, we learned fundamentals of playing, and we had to learn how to play all instruments. Started Brass 2. Brass 2 focused on rotors and trombone slides. And we had a couple of days where we would learn a few things about tubas, which was unfortunate for me, because I really wanted to learn about tuba repair. But so then at the end of Brass 2, we were given a project French horn and trombone that we had to finish and essentially do a complete overhaul with. And then from there, my 4th semester was Woodwind 2, which is where we really focused on saxophones, and then we focused a little bit of time on oboes and bassoons. And at the end of all that, we had a flute and a saxophone to do a complete overhaul with.
Okay, great. So, as you said, you were like required to like learn a little bit about the playing of each instrument. Mm-hmm. Overall, was that so like you're at an adequate playing level so you can test out the instruments to ensure that they are indeed working properly?
Yep.
After the repair. Yeah.
Any shop you go to, their technicians are going to have to play test the instrument to make sure that they're not sending it out with, for woodwind instruments, they're not sending it out with pads leaking or not having noise canceling cork anywhere, stuff like that. Brass instruments to make sure that everything's playing properly, hand slides are moving easily, pistons are working properly, rotors are working and restrung properly. But you have to be able to play test it and make sure that it is playable, so that way when the kid or the professional, whatever it may be, when they get their horn back, they can pick it up and play it. Okay.
Now in the preparation, like the schooling aspect of instrument repair, do you feel that like after graduating from Red Wing that you were like completely ready to jump into things, or was there still like some like on the job training that you feel that you've acquired over the past couple of years?
The nice thing about this job is that you really learn things from other technicians and from each other. There's certain things that there's certain things that I didn't get to do at school, but we went over. And unfortunately, you wouldn't really get to do it until you got into an actual shop where you would be able to do it. For instance, I never got to work with any pitch-filled lead pipes and stuff like that for tubas or stuff like that. When I was in school, we did learn about it, and one of my classmates did get to actually bend his own pipe and that type of stuff. But I fortunately just got to do one at my shop that I work at, and I got to rebend a lead pipe for a tuba. And so that was fun to actually go through and figure out how it's done properly and not completely kink up a pipe and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really, I mean, you are ready to go when you leave school, but it is a job where you learn new and different things every day. And there's always different instruments that you haven't seen before that when they come in, you see something new and you're just like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. Now, what would you say has been maybe the most challenging part of your job, either in the preparation, like when you're in school to do this, or even to date, like to this day? What do you feel has been like the most challenging aspect of the job or preparation for the job?
For me, for when I was in college, I was a solely brass player. I never touched a woodwind before in my life before I went to school. So in college, woodwind was a big problem for me, and that's why I was very happy when I got my job and was a brass-only technician, that I was able to solely work on brass where I was comfortable. But in the real workplace, it's just knowing when to, no horn should ever have to have a setting where you have to say enough is enough. But there's certain times when something just isn't gonna work out, especially with brass, with tuba bells and stuff. Sometimes things are so dented that they're never gonna be perfectly the way they were again. And that's the big thing is, once something happens to your horn, it's never going to be 100% perfect again. There's always going to be scarring. There's we get it as close as we can to perfect, but something happened to the horn, and unfortunately it's going to tell that story the rest of its life. A lot of people that I went to school with, I was very young, coming straight out of high school, going into the repair field. A lot of the other classmates of mine that were there were kids who had gone to school for music education, and they were coming to repair school because if you have a repair degree on your application as well as music education, it looks a lot better to schools to know that they have a repair technician who's certified in-house and knows what they're doing when it comes to repairing things. I went to school with a lot of people who were coming from music education, a lot of older people who used to be teachers and were looking for a hobby to get into. It's definitely something though that I would suggest knowing both sides of the Wynn family.
Okay. What would you say is probably the most rewarding part about your job? Whether it be, I don't know now. As a repair tech, do you have any customer interaction, or do you strictly like work on the instruments and there's other personnel that cover like the customer service side of things?
The shop that I work at, we have a shop manager for our repair shop. He's the one who mainly deals with customers and has all the customer interaction. Occasionally, he will bring some of us out to also look things over, or to help him out with estimates on how we feel like how much time it might take, or what needs to be done and the proper way to go about it. Anytime that a horn comes in, for me, because of brass and stuff, anytime a horn comes in, it's just trashed. Kid fell down the bleachers and the horn's essentially gone.
I've been.
If I can help to bring that horn back to life, that's very satisfying for me. I get a lot of tubas coming in that the bells are all crumpled up, and it's very rewarding to be able to get it looking as good as I possibly can. We once had a French horn come in. This was one of our little horror stories. We had a French horn come in, and from the school that we graduated from, And it was in two separate pieces. The valve block had completely broken off of the horn with all the slides and the levers and everything. And it was very enjoyable to resolder that all back together and actually make a playing horn again. So that was very fun, taking something that can't even be passed off as an instrument and getting it back to in the hands of a kid who can play it and hopefully make something.
That's crazy. What goes through your head when you open up a case, or like at that point, was it even in a case or able to be placed into a case, or like how did it arrive to you?
That one came in a case. We get every now and then, most tubas we get, especially if they're older and really beat up, the schools will just, and we work with a lot of schools, and the schools will just send them in without the case because it's just kind of, at that point, what's the point? But we've gotten some stuff coming in garbage bags, and we had a clarinet once come in like a shopping tote, like a little shopping tote that you would take to the grocery store. And it's interesting seeing some of like the cases that people send their horns in. But most of the time when I open a case and I see something like that where a horn's in multiple pieces, I just ask myself what a lot. I just kind of sit there and what happened to this?
What suggestions would you have to people that let's say their mouthpiece gets stuck, or their dad's like, oh, I'm a handyman, I'm gonna get that out myself with tools. What would be your suggestion to those people? Like I would assume they should probably bring it to someone who is trained to do this. I mean, it sounds simple, like a mouthpiece getting stuck, but what type of repercussions could come from that, or like what would be your suggestion for those people?
Most repair shops that you go to will pull mouthpieces for free. I'm not going to say all because I know that some don't, but most repair shops you go to will pull a mouthpiece for free. On the other hand, if Dad gets a hold of it and tries to take the mouthpiece out himself, he generally grabs a pair of pliers and grabs a hold of it and yanks on it, and then he completely twists up the lead pipe, and then you're buying a new lead pipe. So where you could have just spent the gas money and gone to the repair shop and had them pull your mouthpiece for free, you're now paying close to $100 for a new lead pipe to go on your horn. It's just little stuff like that. I mean, if the kid drops it and mouthpiece is stuck, chances are something else also happened to it, and now the pistons aren't going to be working properly. So you're going to want to bring it into the repair shop anyway. So also another big thing is pads falling out. And people just, oh, I got some super glue. Super glue, as if you're not in a well-vented area, does release gases that are toxic to you. And so a lot of people I know, it's a quick fix and it's really fast, and just throw some super glue in the back of the pad and shove it back in. But if the technician doesn't know that when they get it and they're trying to take the pad back out and it releases gases, it's kind of dangerous to their health.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do would be, mark the key that you're having issues with, even if it's something with, a bent key or something like that, something's leaking, not closing properly. Mark the key, bring it into a shop, get an estimate, because in the long term you're going to pay more for them to completely replace something than you would for them to just do the proper thing the first time. A horror story that we had at our shop with woodwind was we had a dad repair where a clarinet player's thumb rest had fallen off, and the dad, I guess, decided, well, I got these nails, and so he nailed the thumb rest back into the clarinet, and then when you looked down the center board, you saw the nails crossing over on the inside of the bore, and obviously it's not supposed to be like that. But it's ultimately, in the long run, if something happens to your horn, it's going to be cheaper just to take it in. Most places, I know I won't say most places, I know the shop that I work at Menchey's, we have a loaner pool where, you bring in your horn, we'll give you one to play on while your horn's being worked on, so that way you can keep playing. but it's going to be cheaper ultimately to bring your horn in, have it fixed by a certified technician, and then get it back and be able to play it again than it would be to try to fix it yourself or have your dad fix it and then, oh no, something happened. But yeah, it's all kind of risk reward.
Okay, well, overall, thank you so much for meeting with me today, showing me around your shop, showing me a little bit of what you do, and just providing tons of information that I'm sure will be very helpful to the greater music community, and especially people that might be interested in getting into a career in instrument repair.
Absolutely.
Thank you.